Hello guys, and welcome to today's deep dive into the mystery surrounding Black Ops 6. Now you might be thinking, what could possibly be so shady about a game in the Call of Duty franchise? Well, stick with me, because what we're about to uncover is not just a poorly made game, it's potentially part of a much bigger, darker picture. And before we go down the rabbit hole, let's set the stage. In October 2023, Microsoft made a game-changing move when they acquired Activision. And a little over a year later, Black Ops 6 hit the shelves. Now, what if I told you that this game, far from being the result of 4 years of development as we're led to believe, was actually a carefully crafted operation? What if I told you the game's AI systems were designed not just for a better player experience, but for something more sinister? And you may have already heard whispers of strange player behavior, bots, and mysterious shadow bans. But this is only the beginning, and today we're going to peel back the layers and explore what might really be happening beneath the surface. Alright guys, so let's dive into something really interesting that most of you probably haven't seen before, and it also addresses the people that say, well, there are no bots in the game, it's all just in your head. You know, because I'm going to show you something that goes deep into the development of Call of Duty or video games in general. So here's a patent from Activision, titled Methods and Systems for Continuing to Execute a Simulation After Processing Resources Go Offline. Sounds complicated, right? But don't worry, I'll break it down for you. So let us read the abstract word for word, and I quote, "A system and method is provided that simulates gameplay of non-player characters, NPCs, distributed across network and user devices. The system may identify end-user devices that are connected to the system through a network and are able to participate in a simulation in which each participating end-user device is provided with one or more NPCs to be executed. An end-user device may be available to participate when it has sufficient computing capacity, such as when in an idle or standby state. As such, the system may leverage spare computing capacity of networked end-user devices to execute NPCs at networked end-user devices during a simulation. In this manner, the behavior of an NPC may be tested using real-world conditions that may affect gameplay, such as network connection quality, user-to-user game engine coordination and data exchanges, and/or other real-world conditions associated with networked and user devices." And let us repeat the first sentence again. A system and method is provided that simulates gameplay of non-player characters, NPCs, bots, distributed across network and user devices, your PC, your PlayStation, your Xbox. And now I'm addressing all the geniuses in my comment section who keep saying, there are no bots, you have no proof, this is all inside your head. Where are you guys now? Where are you? People say it's just conspiracy theories, it's like clickbait, like Blame Truth and all the other content creators. Right, because this patent right here, just the abstract that I read, which talks about NPCs, is clearly not about bots. No, it's obviously just describing how real players magically simulate gameplay when they disconnect, right? And obviously we're not going to describe the whole pattern now and deep dive into that, but I want to talk about one specific section in there. And I quote again, "Leveraging end-user devices to control NPCs in a simulated NPC gameplay session may be used in various contexts. For example, the system may provide simulated match data that can be leveraged to match players operated by human users in a production environment, e.g. to determine which human users should be matched to play together, as well as to match NPCs in a production environment, e.g. to determine which NPCs should be matched with other NPCs and/or players operated by human users. In instances where a single end-user device is used to test an NPC during a single simulated NPC gameplay session, e.g. without the involvement of other end-user devices in the simulated NPC gameplay session, the system may execute a simulation against the server-side service infrastructure without requiring any other NPCs. Doing so may facilitate testing the network against the server's infrastructure or game hosting service networks, or test modifications to a game engine, game content, game configuration, etc. Alright, so let's talk about what this section of the patent really means for Call of Duty, and I'll break it down in simple terms. So first off, the system described here uses bots, NPCs, to help improve the matchmaking. And you may ask now, how? Well, basically it runs simulated matches where bots play against each other, and these matches create data that helps the game figure stuff out. For example, which players should be matched together in real games and which bots should be matched with human players or bots. So yeah, even before you touch your controller, before you play on your PC, the game is already running these fake matches to tweak the system and make matchmaking feel smoother. Now, here's the interesting part. Sometimes the game doesn't even need a full server or other players to do this. It can take one device, like your console or a PC, and run a bot-only simulation. And this is useful for testing stuff like how well the game engine handles new updates, if new weapons or mechanics work as intended, or even how stable the network is under different conditions. So imagine your device running a little test match behind the scenes, but with bots doing all the work. And it's like a private practice session, but for the game itself. And finally, this system can also run these bot matches completely on the server side. No players or devices needed, right? And you may ask now, why? Well, to stress test the servers, fine-tune updates, or experiment with new content before it goes live. And in short, the game is always running these invisible matches using bots, servers, and even your own device to make sure everything feels smooth when you log in. Now, here's the big question. If the system is this good at using bots behind the scenes, how often are we actually playing against real people? I mean it. Think about it. How come we have 50% of players leaving the game in just 2 months? Like all those times you got destroyed in the lobbies, these up and downs, the roller coaster, mid-match adjustments. Was it a human player or just a really clever bot? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, let me know what you think in the comments, but don't worry, I'll keep digging into this and I have a bit more for you guys. Now, the question is, who is really playing Black Ops 6? What if these so-called bots, these AI-driven entities, are designed to learn from human player behavior, making them appear like hackers? Since many people argue that the game is full of hackers and the anti-cheat is not working, and this AI learning process might be linked to the anti-cheat system known as Ricochet. So let's talk about Ricochet for a second. And even I made a video about Ricochet because I had my suspicions, because Ricochet is marketed as an anti-cheat, and that's supposed to protect players from hackers, and on the surface it seems like a good idea, but here's where things get a little weird, so to say. Ricochet isn't just any ordinary anti-cheat. It's an AI-based system that runs at the kernel level. So what does that mean for you as a player? Essentially, Ricochet is watching your every move in real time, analyzing your behavior, and even adjusting the game to counter suspicious activity. But here's the twist, what if it's not just watching cheaters? What if it's also learning how players play, using machine learning to develop increasingly sophisticated bots that can mimic human behavior? I mean, just think about it. Try to connect the dots here and the patent that we covered in the beginning of the video, because the AI is learning how to play the game. And over time, these AI-driven bots may start to play better than actual human players. And if these bots seem suspicious, players might get wrongly banned, not because they're hacking, but because the system can't tell the difference between a bot and a human player anymore. So what's going on here? Are you playing against real players, or are you being fed a false reality where your enemy is a bot that has learned your every move and is adjusting accordingly? Now, let us take a step further. Microsoft, the company that acquired Activision, has been investing heavily in AI cloud services. And with Activision now under Microsoft's control, the question arises, could this acquisition have a more sinister agenda behind it. Because again, just think about it. If Microsoft and Activision controls the AI and has access to cloud infrastructure, they could be gathering data on every single match you play. They could use this data to train AI bots that behave exactly like human players, infiltrating multiplayer lobbies and making you question whether the game you're playing is real or if it's all just a facade. And look, what if the game isn't just learning how to play better? What if it's gathering data from you? You know, your peripherals, maybe your webcam, your voice chat, and even your keystrokes could all be collected to feed the system. And here is where things get really weird. You know, there are rumors and we have some evidence and patents that suggest Activision is actively monitoring players in ways they don't expect. And one particular patent has surfaced, and it's called System and Method for Driving Microtransactions in Multiplayer Video Games. And this patent strongly hints that when you play Black Ops 6, your webcam is running in the background. Now, this doesn't just mean they can see you, they can also track your behavior. And is this just to improve the experience, or is there a more sinister purpose? And the idea that peripherals like your keyboard, mouse, and even webcam could be accessed without your knowledge raises serious privacy concerns. And what are they collecting? It goes deeper than just game mechanics. The game itself could be using your data to further enhance the AI bots. So what are we left with? Is this just a badly designed game with some broken mechanics, or are we looking at something much darker? What if Black Ops 6 is more than just a game? It's a testing ground for a broader, more invasive use of AI, surveillance, and data collection. Because the drop in player numbers, the presence of bots, the strange shadow bans, and the shady patents, and the ever-present surveillance all point to one thing. This is not just about gaming. It's about creating a data-driven world where every move you make is tracked, analyzed, and used to train the next generation of AI. So next time, for whatever reason, you load up Black Ops 6, remember, you're not just playing against opponents. You might be playing against a machine that's learning from you in real time. And that, my friends, is how deep the rabbit hole goes. But guys, we just started out. It is like one video out of I don't know how many I'm going to make, but right after this one, I'm going to make another one that, so to say, adds on top of this one. Creating that big picture for the whole community to understand why the community was right from the beginning. We said that this is a complete AI slop, and you can tell, you can't deny that. And I was already knowing that they would use bots, and no one is talking about that patent that simulates NPCs in your matches and, all that stuff. So this is just the beginning. There is so much more to uncover and to link to just get the full picture. And with that said, guys, as always, let me know what you think in the comments below. I love reading your comments. I like having discussions with you guys. And if you found it helpful, leave a like, share it with people you think might need to know about this, that you're playing against bots in Call of Duty Black Ops 6. And if you don't want to miss out on this rabbit hole, make sure you subscribe. With that said, guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.